But you have to realize that. And sometimes I don't. Sometimes it comes through and I get angry and I can feel myself getting angry. And sometimes it'll be as I'm going to the anger, ooh, and then I'll actually stop and go, oh, I'm getting angry now, and I'll actually correct my behavior. Right? Or I will go through the whole anger system, go think about it, and come back and go, I'm so sorry that I did that. I don't like that, because I've realized I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be a person whose immediate trigger is a trigger into anger, because it doesn't serve me. There's zero benefit from it, from a longevity standpoint in my relationship, and me as a personal human being who wants to be a good human being.
Or your health.
In no way, shape, or form does it benefit me. So I'm aware of it, but I slip, right? And when I say I slip, it's not that I slip, it's just I'm learning more about myself the more we're going down this journey, and I'm learning more about the relationship. But that's also part of our growth. And that's the part that I really want to emphasize, is grow together. Like, I cannot emphasize this enough, is you either grow together or you grow apart.
That really is a true...
That's the truest statement you're going to get. You either are growing together or growing apart. You cannot grow together if you are not willing to, first of all, let go of your egos and insecurities. For guys, 100%. Let go of your egos and insecurities. For girls as well. But you really have to let go of that and really embrace the fact that this is the person I want to spend the rest of my life with. And if I'm going to do that, do I want to spend the rest of my life with someone in anger, in fear of what we're going to say next, or trying to avoid them?
Eggshells.
Yeah, I remember, I was working for a place in South Africa, and I remember walking in and hearing all the men always talk about how they couldn't wait to not spend time with their wives, right? And this was long before we even did our self-work. And it was always weird to me. Like, my first thing that came into my head was like, why did you get married? Like, all I want to do is spend time with my wife. That's like, it's my person. Why wouldn't you want to? And you need to embrace that. If you don't have that, you need to fundamentally have a look at your relationship. And I'll be honest with you. It may not work out. It may, but you have to be honest. And that's okay. But you're doing this because you want to be happy in a relationship. And in order to do that, it takes work. But I promise you that work is worth it.
If your relationship is based in friendship first, you have a much higher propensity or likelihood of success. And with success, I mean a happy relationship.
Yes.
Than if it was based on just sex or just physical attraction or just one thing that you had in common. If your spouse is that person, it's the first person you want to call when something good happens. It's the first person you want to call when something bad happens. Mm-hmm. It's the first person you think of when you're like, oh, I feel like having coffee. Hey, do you want to go have coffee? It's your best friend.
Yes.
And that really does set a wonderful foundation for a beautiful relationship. And also finding things that you can do together. For the longest time, we didn't really have, I would say, time and opportunity, but honestly, we didn't spend enough time finding those things that we can do on a daily basis that really brought us joy together.
Yeah.
Or finding a hobby or a small thing that we can just share on a daily basis. And I think over time we've really worked a lot on that, and it's been great.
There's been a lot of changes that I've made in regards to how I conduct myself to find them, because we're going to do an entire episode specifically on this because there's so much to dive into. But I'll touch on a couple of small aspects. Right, is a lot. I can attest that a lot of men are going to resonate with what I'm saying. Is my wife wants more quality time. My wife wants more connection. Right. And in your brain, you're going, but I spend time with you.
I'm here with you all day long.
I'm here with you all day long, right? And in my mind, and I've said this to you multiple times, I'm like, define quality time, right? Because, and here's the kicker, there's no definition for it. And I'll explain why, right? It took me a long time to figure this out, but quality time is not the same action repeated consistently. It's not.
No.
Right? No matter how much you think. So let's say in your mind you think, well, if we go for a long walk together, it's quality time, right? Now, this week it may be quality time and your wife may perceive it to be quality time. But next week we're doing the same action. So the action's repeated consistently. However, she may be in a fundamentally different space while she's walking, or you may be in a fundamental different space. Now, it can go both ways, but it generally, as the man, it generally falls upon you. So you perceive that we did the same action, hence the quality time should be exactly the same. And it doesn't work that way. Quality time for me has to be very organic, right? you have to schedule it. Don't get me wrong. You have to schedule. You have to make time for it. But when it happens, you've got to let it happen. But when it happens, the most important thing I've found, and why the same action doesn't always relate to the same quality time, is because you're not present. You're not present.
Either one of you. Or
either one of you or both of you. You're not present in the moment because, and this can happen to us often. If you listen to the Layman Lab podcast for men, we often talk about there is no future, there is no past, there's only now, right? And if you're consistently living in the past, right, you're living in depression. If you're constantly worrying about the future, you're living in anxiety. It doesn't mean you don't plan for them and you don't learn from the past, but if you're not present in those spaces with your wife, there is no quality time. And it took me a long time to kind of figure this out because I was basing quality time on the action and not the actual how the time was spent. Now, can I even say to you that sometimes we sit at home, right, and watch movies in bed and, you know, spend the day with our dogs and we still have quality time. The difference is presence. The difference is being present in the moment.
And how do you tell? So I would say, how do you feel when you're spending quality time together? Because you can consider it an action, like you said, like you used to do. It's an action and I'm going through the motions, but that is the danger as well. You might just be going through the motions
and not actually be,
instead of being present, but also feeling the emotion. And if the emotion means that, you know, spending quality time is actually really just helping your spouse through moving through something difficult in their lives or going through something that you're bouncing ideas off of, sitting in the bath and just talking nonsense.
Yes.
Love that. That's quality time for me anyway. But like you say, there really is no set definition for it.
Yeah.
It really is your presence. And how do you feel once you've done this interaction?
Yes.
Do you feel uplifted? Do you feel more connected? Or is it actually causing more of a rift? If you're just watching movies all the time and you never have actual conversations about your relationship, which is also a pitfall, is never having a conversation.
Never talking about the hard discussions.
The hard discussions. It doesn't mean that every conversation has to be about that, but you do need to check in and go, hey, like, are we good? You know, what are you dreaming about? Yeah, a lot of times we spend so much time together, we assume that we know what our partner is all about, and we assume that they still have the same dreams that they had before, or they're still working on the same goals, where they might have actually changed this like multiple times just in that week. So you do have to check in with each other on an emotional level. The emotion is really where it's at.
Yeah.
So I would
and to give some insight on, especially for guys, if you want to make that time count, I'm going to give you a couple of tips, and these work because it's been proven to work in any type of situation. If you want to make a connection with any human being, look them in the eye. Look them in the eye. Don't look at your phone. Don't look around. Don't make like you're listening, but you're not listening. Don't be focusing on something else that you're putting your focus. There's a game going on that you're worried about what the score is, or there's something you're thinking about. Look them in the eye. Give them your full attention. Right. I guarantee you, if you look them in the eye and you give them the full attention, it automatically goes from just time to quality time because you're present. Then truly be interested in the conversation. Don't just wave over it. And if the conversation isn't gelling with you, then start talking something that does. Right. It's about the connection. It's not really about the discussion. Yes, there's sometimes you're going to have hard discussions about where you guys are, what the next steps are. Those are not always the most comfortable decisions, and you got to be very, very cognizant that they can turn into anger like this. So you have to be present, but also be present in the best possible level of love and kindness.
Keeping a safe space.
Really keep that safe space. The second part on that is do the fundamentals. Put your phone down.
Actually, don't even have it near you.